morning, everybody. It's your boy D Mac. Well, you see the title? Yeah, I said it because there's some parallels with January the 6th and Astroworld that just keep bothering me. And I just got to talk this thing out, man, because it's not the scale of balance is not weighing equally to me on this. And I want to just hash this thing out real quick. So I'm looking at the news and I see that Travis Scott is being, just persecuted even more. And he wanted to do a show at Coachella, and Coachella told him no. It even went to the point to where Coachella is willing to pay him 25% of what he would have made to perform if he just go away. And so there's a major canceling of Travis Scott. And there we go with that whole cancel culture concept again that I was talking about before. And so the first question that I have is, who is canceling Travis Scott? Because when they said that Coachella said that, that wasn't the fans, that wasn't concerned citizens saying that if Travis Scott performs at Coachella, we're going to walk out and we're going to ask for our money back. That was not a fan thing. That was not a concerned citizen thing. That was a higher up thing. That was somebody saying, we're not going to give funding to this. We're going to put obstacles in your way, and we're going to make it really hard for people coming to Coachella if you have this artist there. The pressure was placed on Coachella to not have Travis Scott there, and it wasn't by the fans or the people. And so can't that goes further to prove what I was saying about who cancel culture really is. It's the people with the money to and the power to influence things. That's who cancel culture is, and they use different groups to hide behind and do their thing, do their dirt through. And so that's just one thing that I wanted to point out. But another thing, and my main point, which is the topic, is there are parallels between Astroworld and January 6th that just can't escape my mind. And so my question is, why is Travis Scott being held to such a high level of accountability when our politicians are not being held to a high level of accountability like Travis Scott is, and they have a far more important job than Travis Scott, who's an entertainer. And I'm seeing this, and just I'm speechless at the blatant disregard of how they're treating these politicians. Travis Scott can't get a show at any venue. We have these politicians who incited the riot. They purposely incited the riot, and they're still politicians, and they're still able to speak on different platforms and speak in Congress. This is baffling to me. Why are we still allowing these people to go around and cause the division and cause these people to be whirled up into a frenzy so that they can potentially go out and do this again? But you'll silence someone like Travis Scott because he had a show where people lost their lives, and you're holding him accountable as if he's the one who orchestrated the whole entire thing. Now we have some conspiracy theorists, and we have people who like to go down rabbit holes out there who make the claim that Travis Scott was performing a ritual. Okay, and he sacrificed those people. Okay, so just for the sake of argument, let's say that Travis Scott was performing a sacrifice and ritual at his performance. Let's just say for argument's sake that was the case. Where did Travis Scott learn that behavior from? Who taught Travis Scott that this is something that you'd have to do? And what was his purpose behind doing it? Well, for the people who like to go down rabbit holes and the conspiracy theorists, they also understand and have learned and read the knowledge that these people are motivated to do these sacrifices to not only show their commitment to the industry, but also to curry more favor, to curry more, to garner more popularity, more money, and things of that nature. So if you who believe those things and believe that this was a sacrifice and a ritual, and you know that the people who run in those same circles that do those sacrifices and out at Bohemian Grove and all of that stuff are the politicians, are the entertainers, are the businessmen of the world, and all of these people indulge in this stuff, then how, once again, are we holding Travis Scott to a standard that we're not holding our politicians? You have Matt Gaetz, who's being investigated right now for sex trafficking. He's still running around, running his mouth, spewing a whole lot of nasty, evil rhetoric that is dividing the country, knowingly telling lies to the American people. And nobody's canceling him. There's been no effort put forth to cancel him. You also have Mr. McCarthy who's running around. He's spreading lies. You have what's his name? Lindsey Graham running around. He's spreading a whole bunch of negative rhetoric that is poisoning the people. Now, let's talk about the actual January 6th day in comparison to Astroworld. Now, you have a musician. He's not security. He's not a doctor. He's not the venue owner or anything like that. He's paid to come and show up and perform his songs that the crowd likes, get them hype, show them a good time, and then go on about his business. That's his job. And so that is what he came to do. Him, along with all of his other guests, Drake was there, along with a lot of other artists that performed along with him. And that's exactly what they did. They came out, they got the crowd into a frenzy, they hyped them up so much, and then it went left. It went left real quick, and they were trying to draw attention to it, but he couldn't hear it over the music. And then once he did hear it, he saw the issue going on, and then he stopped the music. They started directing ambulance and paramedics to the areas needed, and then he went back to doing the show. And that's why they're angry and saying that he needs to be canceled, because he didn't show any concern and he didn't show any empathy or sympathy. That's what they're projecting onto Travis Scott. And that is their reasoning for canceling him and blackballing him in all of these areas. But let us go over to January the 6th. We have politicians, public officials who came out on that stage and they whipped that crowd up into a frenzy. But not only did they do that, they instructed that crowd to go down to the Capitol building and be strong, and you have to show force, and we have to take back the vote. And all of the language that they used was aggressive language, instructing those people who they had whipped up into a frenzy to go and have a confrontation with other lawmakers. And so now they go and they do what they were instructed to do while whipped up in this frenzy, while these people on this stage are instructing them what to do, and they go and they do the damage and they kill people. But nobody's been held accountable. Nobody has been blamed like Travis Scott has been blamed. When this happened, immediately it's Travis Scott's fault. It's they even tried to put some on Drake and say somebody was trying to sue Drake because of what happened. And so they began to immediately attack these artists because they whipped those people up into a frenzy. And when those people got whipped up into a frenzy, they stormed the stage, and in doing so, they unknowingly started crushing people who were up at the front. January 6th, those people were whipped up into a frenzy on purpose, and they were given instructions to go and to be aggressive and to be intimidating and to do what is necessary. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean, to do what is necessary and to do it by any means necessary? Because last time I heard by any means necessary, it was coming from Malcolm X. And when he said it, we know in which context he meant, and the government knew as well. And that's why they had him on the FBI's list for watching him, because they deemed him to be dangerous to the nation. And so when they're using this type of rhetoric on January the 6th, President Donald Trump, Donald Jr., Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jim Jordan, all of these people who have been named in fueling this fire, and they sent those people down there, why are they not being held accountable like Travis Scott? Immediately, we know who did it. We know exactly who did it. And so why are we so clear on Travis Scott's accountability, but it's a gray area with these politicians and their accountability? This is not making sense. It doesn't make sense to people who don't understand how this system works and who it works for. And so I understand perfectly why. I know exactly why there's such a disparity between the two, even though the actions were very much the same. It's because of who they are, it's because of what they do, it's because of what position they're in. You know, Travis Scott is still a worker. Travis Scott is still an employee. And so are those politicians as well. It's just that their boss is on a much higher scale than that of Travis Scott's. You know, I don't want to get into how the music industry and all of the Illuminati and all of that stuff. That's not what I want to talk about, because I want to keep the focus on the the parallel between the actions that led up to Astroworld and January 6th are almost exactly the same. The wording was different, and things like that, but the actions were almost mirror image. But yet the level of accountability that's being held is polar opposites. This is a disparity in this country. This is one of the main reasons for the division in this country. This is one of the main reasons for the lack of trust that we have for the government in this country, because we see that they are judged on a different scale than we are. They don't step up and meet the level of professionalism that they should to be able to get any preferential treatment. If there was any preferential treatment to be given, it should be given on the basis that your level of responsibility and your operating in that responsibility is so high that they have to do it on a curve. That would be an excuse for, like extending an olive branch and making an exception because of political things. But this right here is absolutely not that, because this is such a total blatant disregard, and it was absolute neglect. They're saying that Travis Scott was neglectful because of the way that he whips his crowd into a frenzy, and the way that he causes aggressive acts to take place in the crowd. Have you been to a Trump rally? Have you been to a Republican rally? How they've beaten people. We've seen the videos time and time again of people being beaten and thrown out of the rallies, and there being aggression from that party towards people who oppose their views. And we've seen Donald Trump encourage people to operate in that type of behavior, same as Travis Scott does at his shows. So, what is the difference here? What is the only difference between Travis Scott and Donald Trump? I can let you answer that question yourself. So, I'm just pointing out these disparities that are in this storyline, because you look at the parallels. The whole entire event of January the 6th and Astroworld are pretty much the same in how it was executed and the end results. But the way the investigations and the punishments and the accountability is going, it does not parallel. It does not weigh out the same. And so we need to question our government on this, and we need to put more pressure on them to hold their counterparts more accountable for their actions, and to immediately take them off of any platforms or any media source, that including mainstream media and all of these shows that they run to, like Fox and other shows. We need to be able to do the same thing to them that they're doing to Travis Scott. Period, point blank. They don't need to be working. They don't need to be uh, putting input on anything, because they've shown that they don't have the integrity or the mindset to be able to properly or soundly make any judgments concerning the people. And so we need to get rid of these people the same way they're trying to get rid of Travis Scott. There's no difference between what Travis Scott did and what was done by Donald Trump. There's no difference in what he did and what was done by what Drake did and that Mike Lindell did, or Matt Gaetz did, or Marjorie Taylor Greene did. There's absolutely no difference. They got paid to do a job, and they came and did their job, and something happened, and it was unfortunate, and people lost their lives. So if you're going to hold a entertainer to such a high standard and such a level of accountability, you absolutely have to do that and much more for people who have a much more important and higher responsibility than a musician. That's only right. If this is the land of equality, like you boast so freely and boast so highly of, let's see some of that equality being practiced, because this is not weighing out right. The scale is not tipping in the right way in this whole scenario. So, yo, my prayers go out to everybody who lost life, limb, or anything in any of these situations, because I don't ever want to see anybody hurt or anybody lose their lives. I just want to see people being held accountable for their actions and their negligence and their malicious intents, because that's one of the things that I say is not a similarity in the cases. I'll say that Travis Scott did not have malicious intent. And this is for all of those who don't believe in conspiracy theories and don't believe in the Illuminati and all of that stuff. Travis Scott didn't have any malicious intent when he went out there to perform and do that show and make that money. Nobody says, I want to go and see how many of my fans I can make get hurt or die today. That's in no artist's mindset at all, ever. And so Travis Scott is being demonized for something that went wrong at a venue that he had no control over, but they're giving him all the power of, oh, Travis could have said this, Travis could have done that. But then when it comes to Donald Trump, oh, he couldn't stop those people. They had a mind of their own. So which is it? You're talking out of both sides of your mouth, America. This is exactly why the people don't trust you. This is exactly why the people are starting to buck against the system. I've been bucking against the system for a long time, but now other people are starting to really see the irregularities in our government and their attitude towards people who sit in those seats. They feel like they're above the law. And that is the problem with Donald Trump. That is the problem with the people who follow him. And the blind will always lead the blind into a ditch. So, that's just my opinion on that. But I hope I did a good enough job in showing the hypocrisy when it comes to Travis Scott and the public officials who caused the Capitol Police to lose life. That young lady lost her life. And, so much more damage has been done to our country on the world global scale because these things like this make us look very weak, and this gives people opportunities to make plans to do something to us while we're distracted with our inner fighting amongst each other. So I think that's a lot more important than a concert, and that's not to take away from the lives that were lost at that concert. My condolences go out to the people. I'm just saying that the situation on January 6th holds a lot more heavy penalties and consequences than what happened at Astroworld. So once again, my condolences to everybody who lost life in both of those situations. But we need to get on the same page as a country, and we need to hold those accountable who were responsible for January the 6th, the same way we're doing Travis Scott. That's all I really got on this, man. This is your boy D Mac, man. And you know what I say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.